Hey guys, welcome back to another video of Star Trek Fleet Command. So, in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about news, currently what's going on with the event and the extension of the event. A couple of new crew members that I did get and I'm super excited for. And then I'm going to talk mainly about the Romulan officer or the Romulan faction and their officers. I'm going to talk about which officers are currently bugged, what are the best crews to go to, and a really amazing source that someone from the Scopely Discord has created and shared on the Discord. So, immediate shout out to Captain Epictetus. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He made this amazing walkthrough for officers and officer abilities, so I highly recommend you check out his work. He obviously put a lot of time into this, and he is very spot on with everything he is stating on this site. So I will definitely post that link down below right by the subscribe button. Make sure you click that while you're watching this video. So to start off, the news. So Scopely has decided to extend the Fractured Empire event. The leaderboard ended today, and we ended up in third place. Big shout out to my team for working so hard on that. And they've doubled the rewards and lowered the requirements for the event. So for this specific event, PvP, they are doing, I think these are the typical rewards for this event. I could be wrong. I'm going to say that I'm wrong on this, that they are in fact doubled. So you are definitely getting a lot of uncommon in PvP and these amazing officer shards, which I'm going to talk to very quickly. The other event, they lowered the requirement a little bit. It was probably around 10%. And let me see if I can find that here. That's not what I want. That's a leaderboard. Let's see. That's the old one. Oh, of course, now I can't find it. But they did lower my requirement from, oh, here we go, from 90 million to 81 million, but they doubled all of the rewards. I mean, check out all of this uncommon, top tier, and titanium, 5 million in trit. You have 75 uncommon ore and gas, 3 crystal, but then you look at all these tiers, and 40 there and 2 million trit, 1 million trit, 20 there. So it was like ridiculous. So I made sure to pound that out today. Huge shout out to Scopely for doing that. That was so incredibly needed. And so glad that you're helping me get my titanium way up there. I really need it considering my upgrades. So let's talk about my new officers. So I have Mara. Not only do I have her, but now I can tier her up again. I'm waiting to test her out to make sure abilities do in fact work correctly, work as the way they were intended. However, I also just got Khan, and I did some testing with Khan as well, and he works amazing. So when attacking a station, because of the synergy with the other two augments that I have, it is an 85% chance of drastically reducing the mitigation of the opponent's ships and defense platforms for 2 rounds. And every time the ship is hit, the ship is hit by a ship or defense platform, Khan increases critical hit chances by 1%. So that is just huge. And I just want to quickly show you how Khan's abilities come into play here. So, as you can see, once I start hitting it, the mitigation is taken into effect. It's down to 1259. Of course, it only happens during the first 2 rounds, but his shields and hull, of course, are taking a brunt of assault there because there's barely any mitigation. And if we go all the way down to, it's still applying in round 2 there, Let's see here. Take a look at that. That's the regular mitigation. That's what it should be doing. His ability is working perfectly. So in those first 2 rounds, instead of it mitigating 12,600, it's only doing 1,200. That's so incredibly awesome. So definitely wanted to show you that. Now I want to get to my Romulans here. Typically that's not a North Star there. I was doing some stuff with ships. So this is going to be the officer setup that I am going to be working with. Group here, bunch of 8 in there. So what I have found out through a lot of work, talking with people on the Discord, testing out officers, is this is the crew that is going to work for me. And one second here. I'm just going to take a look and see what he talks about Vela. Let's see. Okay, increased total health of all officers on the ship. So Vela's main officer ability increases total health of all officers on the ship by 9%. That works. There's no problem with that. For Vela, I tested that ability, and it definitely applies. I didn't test the captain abilities. Most of these, I didn't test the captain abilities, with the exception of Kumak. Oddly enough, Kumak's officer ability, I don't see any effect of. I see it proccing in the battle report, but it does no mitigation in battle. So Kumak is here as a captain because as a captain, he increases the stats of all officers on the ship by 15%. And this is really important because what I noticed when I was going round and round with this is the attack continually increased. And that should be happening if the stats of the officers are continuing to increase. So this was a really cool thing that I did see. The reason Nero is not as captain of my ship is his ability is bugged. So when we take a look at this and we take a look, every time the ship strikes the opponent, Nero has a 25% chance of burning it for 2 rounds. So he burns him at the end of 1 round, and it lasts for 1 round after that, and then it's done. So it technically only really works for triggering abilities for 1 round. And I didn't think that was good enough. So I completely removed Nero, and if you take a look at this website, he does recommend the same thing, that you use Kumak as a captain. And then the other officer I found that his officer ability worked was Livis. So he is going to be needed to be in a battleship, but he will increase its maximum hull health by 30%. So if you're hunting hostiles and you kind of want to last a little bit longer, or your battleship suffers from a diminished hull, Livis is a really great opportunity to kind of extend that out. The rest of these officers are kind of sad. So Javaid has an armor buff, but I didn't notice any mitigation when the armor was on versus when he wasn't on the bridge. So I didn't like him. Vemit is really bugged, like seriously bugged. So the one thing I was telling earlier about is about this ability to kind of stay on the battlefield after you're destroyed. That works well, but no problem with that. Unfortunately, his officer ability, when I was actually testing this, he was adding shield health to the opponent. So the opponent had 71,000, but by the time I got done doing all the shield health damage, it added up to over 79,000. And I couldn't figure out where that was coming from, because it was not coming from his ability that says equal amount to 40% of the health of all officers on the ship. It made more sense that it added 40% of the last hit that drained the shield health. It was incredibly complicated, and if people out there want to test this, and definitely feel free to challenge me on this, because I would really like to get down to the truth of the matter of how this ability is currently not working. But I would definitely not put Vemit on my bridge as an officer. Then we have Eric's. Eric's, again, he has an armor effect, and I found that it doesn't do all that much, and it's just unfortunate. The unfortunate thing is the armor mitigation, and the author of the site goes on to explain this at length, and he's very, very technical. That let me just take a look at one thing and see if I can find this here quickly, because he did a much better explaining it than I did. So he talks about Nero, and he talks about Kumak. Kumak's a little bit shorter of a sentence, so I'll talk about Kumak. Kumak, like Nero's abilities, are 100% additive from the base armor, deflection, and dodge before research. This means that his ability tends to be negligible once a player has advanced through the research tree. So what he's saying is, once you've gone through the research tree, these abilities have little to no effect. And because it is going to be additive from the base, armor, deflection, and dodge for Kumak specifically. He talks about Azitbur, talks about Nero, and he talks about Chang for broken or nerfed officers. But I would challenge him to also take a look at Vemit, because Vemit, there is something very strange going on with the way he's working. So he goes on to talk about crews for farming hostiles, PvP or high level hostiles, good crews for that. And then he goes by type of ship. So this is such a great resource to use, and I will definitely be doing more videos based on this, but I would definitely recommend going out to this website and checking it out. So ultimately, let me come back here. So his crew setup for his battleship states, let's see. So he has Nero, Vemit, or Livis, or Javade, Livis, Harrison, or Kirk, Bones, and Spock. And I know a lot of you will say out there, Kirk, Bones, and Spock, they belong on an Explorer, and that's true. He's just saying that it's another option, because he literally has Kirk, Bones, and Spock on the Explorer setup as well. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, I unfortunately don't think there's that many options for the Romulan crew. A lot of their abilities are broken. You can get really creative with the Romulan crew setup, but I would, once again recommend Kumak, Vela, and Livis as a really decent setup on a Romulan battleship, or any kind of battleship really, even on your Komari. But I will continue these types of videos, and I'm going to, utilize this spreadsheet that he's created, but I'm also going to do my own testing, because that's where I kind of found that Vemit was doing a little bit of crazy things. Special note about Vemit as well. Do not put him as your captain to attack bases. Your starship will get stuck. You will need to reach out to support to have them unlock it. It will stay engaged in the station. Also, he breaks mining nodes. If you use him on a mining node, you will break it. Please do not use Vemit on mostly anything. Put him on the bottom of your ship. But other than that, I will continue with the Klingon faction, and I will continue with the Federation faction, and talk more about the best officers to use. The good news is, for if you're a Klingon faction, I haven't really found a lot of Klingon officers that are bugged at all. I think they all work incredibly great. They're incredibly destructive. They're an awesome setup, and I wish I was a Klingon faction right now. So if I have any suggestions for people who haven't chosen a faction, I would definitely go Klingon. However, the Federation has a Saladin, and the Saladin is basically the ship that can destroy everything else. So as of right now, that's what it is. Please comment down below if you have any questions or you disagree with anything that I stated here. I would definitely love to talk about it in a very constructive way. Make sure you click that subscribe button, click like, and I will talk to you guys later. Be kind to one another and have a good day.